Okay, folks, so sorry for the delay. My name is Jordan Eller. I'm a community services manager here at Alta California Regional Center, and we're so thankful that you guys are here at our request for proposal today as we present our fiscal year 2024-2025 approved projects from the Department of Developmental Services for our Community Resource Development Plan. So I do want to start with some introductions of my staff that will be helping not only present the information today, but will also be helping with the development, the resource development for these projects and the actual vendorization of the projects. So this morning I have with me Dee Dee Peters, one of our CPP resource developers, Norma Villareta. She is our CSS lead. So she's a lead in the community services department, and she's also our health and safety waiver specialist. I also have Christy Schaefer is one of our resource developers. Courtney Cornelison, resource developer. Dan Kilmer, resource developer. I'll give you a little wave. And newest member to our team, Virginia Gabby, is on as well. So wanted to give you guys a quick intro on that, and we'll go speaker mode. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now with the handout. A few housekeeping measures actually first. So I put in the chat that we are going to hold all questions to the end. We do ask if you have questions as you go, feel free to put those in the chat, or you can just unmute later during the presentation and we can have you ask those questions. If you would like a copy of today's handout this week, please email the RFP inbox that's in the chat so that my staff can get that to you this week. We do plan on posting that to our website, but that will be happening Monday. So anybody who wants it this week to start working on it over the weekend, right, we will be able to email that out to you either later today or tomorrow. So I will start by sharing my screen. You guys let me know if you're seeing this okay.
We can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you. And let me just get my screen situated. Okay, perfect. So for those of you who might not yet be aware, individuals with Alta California Regional Center, right? We serve individuals with developmental disabilities, and we have identified the following projects as our specific development needs. In regards to how we determine the projects that we are going to propose to DDS, that is done through stakeholder outreach and internal information that we have regarding the unmet needs of our clients. So this year we are looking at, we are proposing a specialized residential facility for adults that would be stepping down from a higher level of care, and we'll get into that. We're also looking at a specialized residential for children stepping down from a higher level of care than a SRF. We're looking at a psychiatric wellness center. That'll be a combination of psychiatric services and adaptive skills training. Dental desensitization service, a dental app, and also a day program. We're really wanting to focus the day program in like the El Dorado, Nevada County, one of our outlying counties, for individuals that have a combination of, some minor behaviors and that also have some minor medical support needs. So proposals for these projects may be submitted by an individual, right, a group, or an agency. The applicant must have relevant experience, including providing care and supervision as applicable to individuals with developmental disabilities. The applicant must have and demonstrate knowledge and understanding to effectively deliver the service, right? And one big thing that we always have to ensure is that if you are an applicant that is currently an employee of a regional center, or that is a state employee, you could be awarded that project, but if so, you'd have to cease that employment because that would be considered a conflict of interest. In regards to submissions, we're going to go everything in detail today, but this is the RFP inbox. It's already in the chat. All proposals will be due by January 22nd at 3 p.m. We're not accepting hard copies via mail or delivery. You have to email them to the RFP inbox. So now we will get started with the fun part, right? The description of these services and why you guys are all here today. So we're gonna, I'm gonna pass it over to Norma so that she can discuss the adult specialized residential facility.
Good morning, everyone. I will be going over our first project. As Jordan mentioned, this is for a specialized residential facility, or SRF, to accommodate a total of 4 clients. The startup funding is going to be $250,000. Reimbursement rate and minimum direct service hours will be set by DDS. So what we're looking for is a 4-bedroom SRF that will provide intense supports and services to adult clients and be able to accommodate one non-ambulatory client. Prior to any home modifications or prior to the home purchase, ACRC will need to approve. In these, the target population is clients stepping down from enhanced behavioral support homes or EBSH homes, community crisis homes or CCHs, or any restrictive environments, including locked psychiatric facilities. These are clients who are ready to transition to a lower level of care. The provider will be expected to provide 24-hour care and supervision. Clients served will be between the ages of 18 to 59 and will be male or female. Some of the behavioral challenges may include AWOL, property destruction, verbal and physical aggression, resistiveness, hyperactivity, theft, tantrums, and self-injurious behavior. Clients may have psychiatric diagnoses and require management of mental health needs. The service provider will be expected to assist clients with managing their activities of daily living, increasing their independent living skills, helping reduce or eliminate interfering behaviors with the expectation that the clients can eventually move to a less restrictive environment. Home will be expected to have at minimum 2 awake staff, 24 hours a day. Eligibility. The applicant must qualify as an administrator of an adult residential facility as outlined in Title 22 and Title 17. Applicant must demonstrate the ability to successfully work with and collaborate with consultants to address clients' behavioral or psychiatric needs. This includes implementing formal behavioral intervention plans and psychiatric treatment plans. The applicant must also have an understanding of behavior and psychiatric intervention techniques. Expectations of the provider will be to support adults transitioning down from highly restrictive settings. As we said earlier, EBSH homes, CCH homes, at least one bed would be cleared for a non-ambulatory client. Services will be provided in the least restrictive environment and in compliance with HCBS regulations. The following criteria must also be met. Administrator must be on site at least 40 hours per week and provide periodic check-ins on weekend and nighttime shifts. All staff must be awake and on duty all hours of the day. The provider will be expected to create and maintain systems to ensure quality of the program and adherence to all Title 17, Title 22, and DDS directives. Applicant must have a behavior management system that clearly and accurately identifies interfering behaviors, a strong data tracking system, and a system in place to ensure fidelity of behavior management. The home will be expected to work closely with a board certified behavior analyst or BCBA, client psychiatrist, or other mental health service providers to address the client's mental health needs. For clients with medical needs, the home will work closely with the primary care physician or RN to ensure that their medical needs are taken care of, and the applicant must require emergency intervention training for all their staff.
Excellent. Thank you, Norma. Like I mentioned, we'll take questions at the end, but if you have questions, please enter them in the chat. We'll have plenty of time to address questions at the end. So next, I'm going to pass it over to Dee Dee to talk about the Wellness Center.
Hi, so this will be a wellness center
I'm
similar
so sorry
to,
to interrupt. This is the interpreter speaking. Can you spotlight me? And I also have a team member. And
Excellent.
can
Yes.
everyone speak at a regular pace, please? I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Excellent. Let me get you set up here in just 1 minute, folks. Let me go to participants. Carol. Thank you so much, Carol, for joining us. Sorry that there was a confusion with the link. My apologies about that.
And also my teammate is Andrea Lust.
I sent it to her in the chat. She has it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, just 1 moment. Okay, so you are spotlighted right now. And the other individual, sorry, one more time.
Andrea Lust.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Andrea's iPhone.
No, Andre Lust.
Okay.
AL. I don't know who Andrea's iPhone is. That's not me.
Okay. I will can somebody on my team find her and spotlight her so we can move on, please? Thank you.
Okay. Back to the Wellness Center. So it's going to be both a psychiatric treatment and adaptive skills. The provider startup funding will be $50,000 and the reimbursement rates are DDS set rates. What this is a development of mental health services that provide lower than a wraparound mental health service for clients who need psychiatric support that is inaccessible by county agencies or the individual's PCP. ACRC is proposing a clinic that can have a psychiatrist that can prescribe medications and an RN that could complete injectables monthly or quarterly. And they will also have a wellness drop-in center for ongoing supports and classes such as anger management, medications, self-care, mindfulness, community reintegration,
Have
community
to go a little slower.
reentry,
Okay.
friendship and intimacy, medication management, recreation for leisure, emotional regulation. I'm gonna have to read over here, I'm sorry. Okay. And then the center should have a monthly calendar of support group and classes, a staff member available during business hours to greet and support the clients for the drop-in center. So our target population are ID and DD clients that also have mental health disorders, for example, schizophrenia, bipolar, major depressive disorder, etc. Really, these are individuals that are eligible for county behavioral health services, but due to an ASD diagnosis, they either cannot benefit from a generic resources due to their developmental disability. Clients also might have a criminal justice involvement and required to participate in psychiatric services or support groups as a condition of their diversion plan. So the scope of service for the provider is outpatient treatment, offering psychiatric medication management by a licensed clinician, and access to a center that offers multiple support groups daily or as needed. An eligible applicant will demonstrate client population ideally will have a history of working with individuals with intellectual disabilities. Providers will employ a psychiatrist, MD, a nurse practitioner, or registered nurse. And any of the following support group classes can be a psychologist, LCSW, LMFT, or case managers. Let's see, expectation of the provider is all licensed staff must maintain a current license to provide services and be in good standing with the respective licensing board. Provide the progress reports on clients participating in services either quarterly or monthly, and as needed adapt support groups or classes curriculum for individuals with ID or DD. Order labs for clients as clinically appropriate annually or as needed for therapeutic levels.
Thank you, Dee Dee. And just one addition to this, right? So the applicant could either be somebody who's creating a new center, a new service, or an existing provider, right, that currently serves general population that would be willing to expand some specific services and support groups for individuals with developmental disabilities and co-occurring mental health disorders, right? So either of those would be great. And next, which is exciting, we're going to go on. This is one of the first times we've done a service like this. We're excited to post this one. Dan, we'll turn it over to you for the dental app.
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, so this is Alta's first go about developing some kind of application that folks can use to enhance the services of our clients in relation to dental hygiene. This project is in conjunction with the dental service that Chrissy Schaefer will highlight after this. So what we're looking at is a provider to develop an application that can be used for individuals who have behavioral issues or anxieties around oral health. And as we know, clients who experience this don't really get the dental health that they need, and then that creates a lot of other problems. So we're trying to use this application in conjunction with the service that Chris is going to highlight to help them to desensitize them to dental hygiene. So once this is completed, the app will be available to all regional centers, so not just Alta. Then once completed, the app will be utilized in conjunction with the services delivered that will support its use and implementation. So the dental desensitization service, behavioral services, autism services, ILS and SLS, et cetera. The curriculum embedded within the development of the dental app is to be commensurate with the curriculum of dental desensitization services. So the app is designed to assist the dental hygienist or the BCBA working with the individuals to tolerate dental services. The clients that we're looking at targeting for this are those, like I said before, have behavioral or anxieties around dental services. The hope is that our clients could get their needs met at a dental office, right? So rather than not being able to access those services. So prospective participants will experience barriers to completing dental hygiene routines and or accessing dental services, a resultant of skill deficits or resistive behaviors and anxieties, which will put them at risk of for negative or health outcomes. Okay. The scope of the service provider. So the intent of this service is to create an application to provide a multidisciplinary framework for dental desensitization and establishment of daily oral hygiene routines to be utilized by caregivers. So service providers and clients via evidence-based and behavior interventions. The app is to be used in conjunction with a licensed dental provider or a board-certified behavior analyst. Okay, and then for so the eligibility of the applicant. So for the dental app, we're looking at either a BCBA or a licensed dental provider or someone who's qualified software developer, right? So if you're a BCBA, we would expect you to kind of partner with a licensed dental provider and an app developer. And then on the conversely, if you are a licensed dental provider, then we would expect you to partner with a BCBA and the dental app a developer. See, so the expectations of the provider, the service provider will be available to consult, collaborate on dental desensitization service development as required, collaborate with ACRC dental coordinator and other identified ACRC clinical services staff and community service specialists as part of service development, referral process and ongoing service delivery, implement and utilize the dental app once developed as part of the dental desensitization service curriculum. So ensure access to required disciplines for development. So you'll collaborate with the BCBA, the licensed dental professional, et cetera.
Thank you so much, Dan. The word desensitization is it's a tongue twister, right? It is a tongue twister.
Yeah. And then supporting ongoing updates and system development of app maintenance and dissemination.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, so the kind of the second part to this, go ahead, Christy Schaefer.
Okay, so this corresponds with the dental app that Dan was just sharing with us. So this is also dental services. This is dental desensitization service. The provider startup funding is $75,000, and the service code is 117. So with the support of a trained staff, so BCBA, RBT, or dental hygienist, clients will receive direct one-on-one support prior to, during, and following non-sedation dental work. So that would mean routine appointments or more invasive procedures. The service delivery location will vary. So that will be based on individualized assessed needs of each participant. The services may begin in the home setting or an alternative location that is familiar to the participant, but then transition to a mock or actual dental environment as the desensitization process progresses. This service aims to limit the use of sedation dentistry for individuals with developmental disabilities who can be taught to tolerate dental procedures. This dental service is designed to be a coaching model with the support of the dental app, once developed, which will help track and monitor clients' progress with becoming more comfortable with receiving and completing dental services, as well as facilitate desensitization strategies outside of teaching sessions. The curriculum for the dental desensitization service and the curriculum embedded with the development of the dental app are to commensurate. For the target population, this service is intended for individuals with qualifying regional center diagnosis, age 7 and up, when there is an assessed need and the client meets the entrance criteria for the dental desensitization service. Prospective participants will, at minimum, experience barriers to completing dental hygiene routines and or accessing non-sedation dental services resultant of maladaptive behaviors or anxiety, which will put them at risk for negative oral health outcomes. For the scope of the service for the service provider, the intention for this service is to provide multidisciplinary support to the participant via evidence-based behavior interventions in conjunction with a licensed dental provider. Okay, for eligibility of the applicant. The service provider should be a board certified behavior analyst, a BCBA, with experience in developing and implementing desensitization strategies with individuals with a diagnosis of developmental disability through a person-centered approach. This clinician would be required to ensure consistent access to licensed dental providers, RDHAP or DDS or equivalent. Through direct employment and or contractual agreements for guidance on dental treatment approaches, assessment of oral health needs, and actual dental services as appropriate. Or I believe I need you to go up just so for the eligibility of the app, there we go. The next identifier would be a licensed dental provider with experience providing dental services to individuals with developmental disabilities who experience barriers in accessing dental services related to maladaptive behaviors and or anxiety. The licensed dental provider would be required to ensure consistent access to board certified, can you go to behavior analyst, a BCBA, with experience in developing and implementing evidence-based desensitization intervention through a person-centered approach. Expectation of the service provider. Okay. So the service provider is to be available to consult and collaborate on dental app development as requested. Also to collaborate with ACRC dental coordinator and other identified ACRC clinical services staff and community services specialists as part of service development, referral processes, and ongoing service delivery. Implement and utilize the dental app once it's developed as part of the dental desensitization service curriculum. Ensure access to required disciplines for service delivery for BCBA, RDHAP, DDS, or equivalent, ensure access to mock or actual dental environment, and ensure access to all necessary dental equipment required for service delivery.
Thank you so much, Christy.
Okay.
I see there's good questions coming along in the chat, which is great. And so for our next project description, we'll pass it to Dee Dee.
Okay, this is very similar to the SRF that Norma went through. It's just for children's. And so you will need to get licensed as a children's group home. The rate of reimbursement for the provider funding is $250,000, and it does have DDS set rates. It's a 4-bed group home, and this is a step down from our children's enhanced behavior support homes, community crisis homes, or intensive behavior psychiatric facilities for children. Same type of target population, AWOLs, physical aggression, property destruction, recessiveness. Children may also have psychiatric diagnosis and will require management of mental health needs. And children may remain in this home until age 18, and then they do need to step into an adult home. Children's outcomes is a reduction of interfering behaviors, management of mental health needs, improving ADLs and independent living skills. Expectations clients will move into a less restrictive environment. So that can be another children's home or when they age out at age 18. The eligibility of the applicant is a strong understanding and demonstration of successive behavioral management systems, clients with developmental disabilities, and have the understanding of how to train staff implementing of behavior intervention plans, mental health treatment plans, and effective collaboration with the child's PCP, various mental health, and other necessary consultant professionals. Expectation of the applicant, or I'm sorry, of the provider. Same thing as the adult, 2 awake staff, at least 40 hours a week for the administrator, to have a strong data tracking, identifying interfering behaviors, a system in place to ensure fidelity, checks of behavior management system, and to work closely again with the children's psychiatrist or other mental health services. Applicant will locate a home that is not in a densely populated area, but still close to community resources, especially because these guys will still go to school. Applicants must require emergency intervention training for all staff.
Thank you so much, Dee Dee. All right, and the last description we'll go over, and then after the descriptions, we're going to go into all the instructions for the proposal. So now I'll pass it over to Ms. Courtney Cornelison for the day program.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Jordan. The next project type we are looking at is the Behavioral Day Services Program. Provider startup funding is $200,000 and the reimbursement rate is going to be set by DDS. So the development of this day program will assist clients with some medical needs. So we're thinking catheters, G-tubes, EpiPens, things of that nature, as well as personal care. The program we're looking for is to be set in an outlying county. So think El Dorado, Nevada, Yolo, Sutter, Colusa. And this program's also going to be licensed by CCL once it is obtained. The target population for the clients are adult regional center clients, ages 18 and up. They'll have behavioral and some medical support needs. So with behavioral, we're looking at yelling, biting, self-injurious behaviors, and physical aggression, all of which may require a behavioral intervention plan. And with clients who have medical conditions, we're looking at catheters, G-tubes, and EpiPens, which also may require a restricted healthcare plan as well as monitoring. The clients in this program may need assistance with their activities of daily living. ADLs not limited to toileting, ambulation, physical limitations, and sensory support needs. For the scope of this service provider, we are looking for the provider to have the ability to work with clients to reduce and manage behaviors, improve their ADLs, and their independent living skills. We would like the provider to be able to be willing to work with and employer contract with behavioral and medical professionals to serve the clients. A minimum of 2 board certified behavior analyst hours, so 2 BCBA hours a week shall be funded through the standard hourly rate. However, ACRC will explore additional specialized services with alternative service codes or rates for nursing oversight, which is all dependent upon each individual client need. For the eligibility that we're looking for, the provider must be able to demonstrate an understanding of our target client population and have a history of working with these individuals with the intellectual and developmental disabilities. We want the applicant to be able to demonstrate a strong understanding and success with behavioral management with clients with developmental disabilities and the willingness to contract with any necessary medical staff. So think of LVNs and RNs. We want the applicant to have the ability to train staff in implementation of behavior plans, as well as the ability to successfully work with the clients to teach them life skills. So for the administrator, the DATE program must meet the criteria identified in the California Code of Regulations, Title 17, Section 82064. You can write that down, or I know this will be posted later, so you can go ahead and take a look and wait when you see it posted online. We're also looking for the expectations of the director and the supervisor that are in accordance to the California Code of Regulations, Title 17, 5674. So the director of the adult day program must have a bachelor's degree and a minimum of 18 months of experience in management of human services delivery system, or 5 years of experience in the human services delivery system, including at least 2 years in management. The supervisor that we're looking for shall possess 3 years of experience in the human services delivery system, including at least 1 year in a comparable program or a bachelor's degree in the human services field. The last section here is the expectation for the service provider. The applicant we're looking for must be able to demonstrate their knowledge of the regional center, who we are, who we serve, as well as having the experience of working with the behavioral and medical clients. This day program will have behavior management program staff available as well as medical staff. The behavior management program shall also provide a direct care staff to consumer ratio of 1:2 or 1:3, depending. The day program operators will also be required to develop individual service plans, so ISPs for consumers, and provide semi-annual as well as annual reports to the planning team. Again, the applicant will locate a site to be licensed by CCL. And if you would like to do a little bit more research, I highly recommend that you do if this is something you're interested in. The behavior management programs shall reach the requirements in the CCR Title 17, Section 56710 through 56756.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Courtney. All right, folks, so the next part of this will give you some kind of basic overview of the client criteria and the RFP process. Dan is gonna summarize some of this for us, and then we're gonna get into what are the specific questions that we want addressed in each project and each proposal for each proposal for each project. All right, Dan.
Thank you, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So this request for proposal process is designed to develop the resources of our clients who have unmet or undermet needs. So the community placement plan is designed to address the needs of our clients who are in state hospitals. And then the community resource development plan are for clients who are in the community. So that could be clients who are coming from a IMD or a skilled nursing facility. They're in the family home or other community setting, and their support needs are just getting greater, and they're at risk of needing additional resources or more restrictive settings. So this process is to develop those unmet needs or undermet needs. The expectations of the selected applicant. So if you are selected, these are some expectations: that you would work collaboratively and closely with the regional center, provide careful and thorough planning in all aspects of the project you are awarded, work diligently to complete the project in a timely manner, commit to providing quality services, submit updates and summaries detailing the progress made towards the project development, and then to report any delays with the project. So as you go through, if you come with barriers or delays, then you would have to report those to us immediately. And then the applicant would work with, or we would consult with any kind of licensing board, DDS, and other stakeholders as you develop these resources. And then throughout the request for proposal process, we would assess the applicant's strength in the areas of clinical, administrative, and financial responsibility. And then prior to selecting or awarding to any applicant, well, we will have you submit, it's a DDS form 1891 for the disclosures. So,
And that's to from the Office of Internal General, right, to check for any Medi-Cal
yes.
or Medicaid fraud. That's something we have to do for all vendors every 2 years.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. And, all referrals will come from the regional center, either through the client's planning team or the various committees that we have here at Alta. For clients transitioning from a state developmental center or an IMD, or it could be a SNF, there may be other agencies involved when it comes to referrals. So just know that. Your proposal. So if you, when we get to part 3, we do limit the number of pages for your proposal. This is not meant to be your service plan or your program design for vendorization. This is just an overview of the services that you intend to provide. If you are selected, then you will work with us to do up a full service plan or program design. Okay. Then the selection process. So once we receive all the proposals, the selection committee will review and score all the proposals using a 100-point scale. And then the top points are given to the various sections of your proposal that reflect the appropriate service supports and services offered to the individuals you are planning to serve. After we score the proposals, the top 3 applicants with a score of 70 or above will be interviewed. And then ACRC does reserve the right to interview any other applicants who may not be in the top 3 or have a score below 70. So the timeline. So today is the orientation. You will receive the handout. The proposals will be due on January 22nd of next year. And then by February 12th, we will read and score the proposals. And then we are conducting interviews the weeks of February 18th through March 4th. And then we'll make our final selection by March 7th. And then we need to have all of our contracts signed by the end of this fiscal year, June 30. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Startup funding. So there are startup funding associated with each of these projects. The funds are meant to aid in the development of the project, but may not cover the entire cost. So the selected applicant is responsible for costs that exceed the available startup funds. The selected applicant will complete the startup funds allocation detailing how the funds will be used. So once you're selected, we will give you a form and you will let us know how you plan to use the funds, and then we will review and approve that. And prior to any disbursement of funds, the startup funds allocation must be approved by ACRC. Okay, licensure and vendorization. The selected applicant must have or acquire and maintain all appropriate licenses and certifications for the program or service for the individuals who will be operating or providing this service. So all the providers who are selected will become vendored under Service Code 999. That's for the startup funding. And then you will become vendored for under the appropriate service code for the program. And then the applicant will complete all the required trainings that Alta offers. So we have the vendor orientation, the behavior management skills training, the program design workshop, we have a med training, the P&I training, and the record keeping training, then the SIR training, and then the accounting training. So not all these are are required for all the applicants, but I know for the residential, for sure, all these are required. And most of these are completed through our learning management system. So the only one that is not done online is the behavior management skills training. That's done in person at the regional center. Let's see. And then prior to vendorization, the selected applicant must have an approved program design, approved fee schedule, if applicable, and then execute a service provider agreement with a CRC. Okay. And then non-discrimination. So ACRC shall not discriminate in the selection of an applicant on the basis of race, color, creed, national origin, ancestry, sex, marital status, disability, religious or political affiliation, age, or sexual orientation. And then ACRC, so then these are our contacts here. So the RFP, altaregion.org, and then all of us here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dan. And like we said, if you guys email the RFP inbox, we'll get you this handout today. If not, it will be posted on our website on Monday. Any questions you have throughout this process, please email the RFP inbox. My staff will be checking that daily so we can ensure to respond appropriately for folks. And then next, we're going to get into the actual guidelines for the proposals, and we're going to have Dee Dee start out for us.
Okay, so proposal guidelines. When drafting your proposal, please consider you will effectively meet the unique needs of the target population, and then draw on your experience, education, and creativity when deciding what services supports are necessary. Thoughtfully consider how services will be delivered and consider how your proposal will stand out from the others. Simple, generic responses or descriptions will hinder your chance of being considered for an interview. This program is not meant to highlight every aspect of your program. A full description of the program will be developed in the program plan by the selected applicant. There are a few things that are exactly the same for all programs, so I'm just going to mention those, and then each one we can highlight the differences. The format must be double-spaced, 12-point font, New Times Roman, and 1-inch margins. We have a lot of these to read. Help us out. So they're a little uniform. Thank you so much. There must be the title page, which is attachment A, must be filled out. Applicant agency information is a maximum of 2 pages. And then you get into your program summary, which is unique to each one. I will go over the first one, which is the SRF for adult and children. If you, by the way, if you want to submit a proposal for both, you must submit 2 different proposals, one for the adult, one for the child. We've had that question before, so I'll just go ahead and answer it now. Your program summary is going to be the same. You need to discuss the program, the design and layout of the home, the property site. Within this, you can also talk about what location you think would best fit where the home would be and why. Description of how you're going to find qualified staff and the different staff positions. Discuss your plan to ensure quality of care for those that you serve. Things like behavioral, medical, and mental health. Describe your plan to ensure all clients have plans, for example, behavior plans, nursing plans, restricted healthcare plans, or other treatment plans. Describe your plan to meet community integration. That's very important for all of our clients and those HCBS rules. Describe how you plan to utilize any specialized licensed clinical staff. We want you to choose 2 types of consultants that would be important for your program and explain why you chose them and how you'll utilize them. Describe your staff training program, including topics, and explain how staff training will ensure to be effective serve to this target population. And what is your plan for serving diverse populations, including and not limited to cultural and linguistically? Sorry. All of these points are on the handout, so you understand how we score each and every one. Courtney?
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Perfect. So the next one we're going to go into is the day program portion. Like Dee Dee said, we are going to require the title page, applicant agency information, and program summary. For this one, we are going to look for your proposed location and geographic area. We want you to be able to describe your ideal layout and design of the program and property site. So think of like amenities that you would like, think of amenities you like think that would be helpful for you to provide services and why. We want you to describe how you plan on finding qualified staff. What does that process look like for you? We want you to list the different staff positions. So give us their titles and very briefly just give us a rundown of the duties that you would expect for them to do. Next, we'd like you to discuss your plan to ensure quality of care for the clients you serve, so behavioral, medical, things of that nature. We want you to describe your plan to ensure all clients' plans are being implemented correctly by all staff and how you ensure to collect data and that it is accurate. We need you to describe your plan to meet clients' community integration needs. What is that going to look like for the clients? We need you to describe how you plan to utilize any specialized licensed staff, clinical staff, medical. Describe your staff training program. So please include topics and explain how these staff training programs will ensure staff will be able to appropriately and effectively serve the targeted client population that you serve at your day program. And lastly, for this one, we are asking you what your plan is in serving diverse populations as well. So again, culturally, linguistically, how do you plan on serving these clients?
Thank you so much, Courtney. All right, now I'm going to scroll up. Let me not give you any motion sickness here. Scrolling up to the dental app.
Okay. Thank you, Jordan. If you are going to apply for the development of the dental application, you'll include the title page, no more than 2 pages to describe your agency. And then the third part is to describe the creation of the application, which will include these items below. So describe your overall experience with children and adults with IDD, with maladaptive behaviors and or anxiety. Describe how your experience, skills, and knowledge will work towards the creation of a dental app that will assist clients towards improving oral health and desensitization. Describe the varying components of the dental application and how they will be used. Describe the testing process for the effectiveness of the application. So indicate the ways you will provide technical support for clients and care providers during the process of application. And then what challenges you anticipate and how you will mitigate potential issues. And describe how the BCBA and then the dental professional will collaborate when delivering the service. And like all the other ones, what is your plan to serve diverse populations, including but not limited to culturally and linguistically, and then provide an example of that.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Scroll up here for Christy to go for the desensitization.
Let me unmute myself. Okay, so for dental desensitization, just like the others, you're going to have a title page, attachment A, and for the applicant, we would like for you to include your credentials. So applicant or agency information. And then you're going to describe your proposed dental desensitization service, including the following areas. Describe your overall experience with children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, with maladaptive behaviors or anxiety. Please describe how your experience and skills, including your coaching model, will best serve the objective of assisting clients towards desensitization services. Describe the locations, the setting, the environment where you will serve clients. Please indicate the ways you will provide support for the clients during the process of desensitization and how you will mitigate these potential challenges. Include how you will determine the appropriate duration of service based on the client's progress in the desensitization process. Describe collaboration efforts for service delivery. with BCBA, RDHAP, DDS. So that would be a dental hygienist or a dentist or equivalent, and how you will facilitate desensitization strategies out of the teaching sessions. Describe any continuing education opportunities you plan on attending to stay up to date on best practices when working with the IDD population, as well as dual disciplines. And what is your plan in serving diverse populations, included but not limited to culturally and linguistically? Provide examples.
Thank you, Christy. And our last description for the proposal will be Dee Dee for the Wellness Center.
Yes. So your description, since the other two things are exactly the same as everybody else's, is describe the type of services you can offer. For example, the psychiatric, the support groups, and classes that you offer. Describe any assessments and evaluation tools that you will use for the individual and how those tools will be utilized. List all staff credentials and describe experience of treatment of the provider. Describe how you assess and determine if a client is making reasonable progress, and what is the approach to the service and if an individual is not making progress or is declining. Describe any barriers you might have with serving the targeted population and how you may overcome those barriers. And what is your plan for serving diverse populations, including but not limited to culturally and linguistically?
Excellent. So the last bit before we'll open it up for questions are the attachments. So I'm going to go through those here, but you'll see that we have a proposal page, a staff schedule, the references, statement of disclosure, and we want copy of everybody's resume that applies. So this is the attachment A. So we anticipate everybody will need to have this for every project proposal. Fill out your information here, pretty basic. We get that signed with the date, all that good stuff, right? And then attachment B is only going to be for programs that will be licensed, right? So this will be for both of the SRFs, the specialized residential facility, and also the licensed day program. So you'll see that here. If you guys have any questions about these attachments, you just email our RFP inbox. And then we are asking for references. So please give us 3 references. And then statement of disclosure. I am going to read this in detail because I think it's important for folks to know, right? So everyone will have to complete this. It's really important that we know the background of each applicant before we award projects. So we need to know if the applicant is currently providing services to any other regional center clients. If you're currently serving or planning to apply for any grant funds or any source to develop social service programs, right, outside of regional center dollars. If the applicant is vendored with any other regional center, and if you are, please list those. The applicant, a member of the applicant's organization or staff, if you guys have ever received a citation from any, for any suspected abuse, right? Be that verbal, physical, sexual, fiduciary, right? Financial, or general neglect. So if anybody's ever received a citation for that. Has the applicant or any member of the applicant's organization ever received a corrective action plan, sanctions, or found to have immediate danger at your facility or the program that you're operating? Has the applicant had to ever file for bankruptcy for any reason? And the number 7 is specifically for adult residential facilities. Has the applicant been convicted of a crime that would prevent them from becoming licensed or would require an exemption from a licensing agency? And then the last one is describe your professional business obligation held by the licensee and administrator, right? So those are of the licensed site, including the name, location, type, capacity, and time commitment for each obligation, right? So each applicant will have to share those. And we are now going to open it up for questions. I know Virginia Gabby has been monitoring the chat for us. So what is our first question, Miss Virginia? I'll put it up here too.
Our first question is rate setting for the wellness center expense driven, or is there already an established rate?
It will be established rates, right? So with the new DDS rate study, right, all the new rates are taking effect. The full rates are January 1st of 2025. Our regional center is thinking that this would be service code 117 for the psychiatric services. And then looking at adaptive skills training would be 605 for the support groups or classes, right? If classes are more from a bachelor's level staff than master's level staff. So we're thinking those two service codes. We obviously too want to hear the ideas of the applicant.
Okay, next question for the Wellness Center. Is there an anticipated number of individuals currently in need? What is the anticipated number of people eligible for this service? And my question just jumped, one moment. And where would referrals to the Wellness Center originate from? And is drop-in open to public or only for Alta individuals? That was all in one question.
All right. So starting off with referrals, right? So referrals would come from your assigned service coordinator. Service coordinators here do have the opportunity to staff with committees to help brainstorm what services and supports might be appropriate. For individuals that do have that criminal justice involvement that we talked about, the regional center may have recommended psychiatric services or the support groups as a condition of the diversion plan. So for some of those, that will be Alta specifically recommending it to the court as a condition of that voluntary diversion plan for the client. In regards to anticipated need, I don't have an exact number for you today, but we absolutely have a need for adults that might not be able to access this through the county, right? Maybe they have an ASD diagnoses and that specific county's contract does not allow them to serve individuals with ASD. The other thing, just kind of for the community to know, we do have, some great psychiatric providers currently that are, that are do a great job with our clients. We're anticipating a long-term psychiatrist retiring in 2025 that serve both children and adults. So that is another reason, and it's definitely a high priority for our stakeholders to have additional psychiatric service options for clients that can't access that through a generic resource for a variety of different reasons. Did I hit them all on that one, Virginia? Did I?
Almost. The last one, is it open to public or only Alta individuals?
And I think that would really determine on the applicant, right? So if this is an
Right.
already
Yeah.
existing provider that's serving the general
Mhm.
population, then they would continue serving that. And then they would also, have some groups for individuals with developmental disabilities. We're also thinking that, some of the startup funds for this can be used, for example, if they're in need of adapting curriculum to help meet
Exactly.
the need,
Mhm.
right, of individuals with IDD, then that's something that we would think the startup funds would be. Or if you are a generic service provider, maybe you want to go get extra training in serving duly diagnosed, right, with intellectual disability, developmental disability, and a co-occurring mental health disorder.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Excellent. Yep. And let's see, what else? What area or city is preferred for either of the SRFs?
So in regards to the SRFs, we want to hear from folks. Sacramento is one of our busiest areas, but in regards to like location of some of our EBSHs and CCHs, if you could compare that, right? We have one EBSH out in the Yuba area. We have several specialized homes like in Carmichael, Fair Oaks, Sacramento, Galt. So we really want to hear from the applicant. I would say, the biggest county that we serve in general, right, is Sacramento. That's just due to sheer population of Sacramento. But we absolutely want to hear from the applicant, their ideas on what they think would be best for their specific projected project and their specific facility. But we're open, right, to our 10 county catchment area for that.
Jordan,
Yep.
can I add something?
Yeah, resources, of course, is important to access.
Yeah, I think
Right,
the
yeah.
only other thing is you have to
Mhm.
keep in mind why we're open and we have 10 counties we serve If the expectation is these people for adults go to day program, then we need to make sure there's a day program around the area you're proposing. Or with the children, if they have behaviors and it takes an hour each way to go to school, that might be a little tough on them. So if you could just keep that in mind, but we are open to all our catchments.
Yes, all very good points. Thank you, Dee Dee. And then, Virginia, I see too that it looks like right after Anthony's question, we had one from Renee regarding the startup funding.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I'll take that one next. So Renee, for the
One.
So for the startup funding, that is something that we award to the applicant. So that is money that is given to help develop the project, provide specialized training to staff, purchasing equipment, if that's something that, right, for example, would be part of that. Some of those costs to get the service started. And so those would be awarded to you. Each awarded applicant will have specific criteria in their contract that will identify exactly how those startup funds would be dispersed, right? So all of that would be determined through if you were awarded in the actual contract language. We would work together on how to disperse those and targeted goals to disperse sections of the money. All right, Miss Virginia, what do we got next?
Okay. Can a current admin with 2 homes qualify to be administrator of any of these homes, considering the restrictions of 1 admin per 2 homes?
We know that CCL, right? CCL requires the 20 hours a month for administrators, right? And it's common that an administrator can be over 2 homes. What we've really seen kind of quality assurance wise over the past several years is that these homes really need a dedicated 40-hour-a-week administrator. So we know that's above what Title 22 asks for, but that is the baseline that we are looking for.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yes, absolutely.
Next question. Can you still vendor if you already have been vendorized for another ACRC program?
So I might be misunderstanding this, but we have several individuals that are vendors that get awarded new projects. But is this one that maybe you're in the process of vendoring and you want to now like you are in the process of, for example, of vendoring a day program, but now you want to apply for this specific community resource development plan project? Is that if whoever asked that question, feel free to speak up.
This question came from Pearl Care Services.
Okay. And Pearl, did I answer your question? I'm happy to have you chat with me. If I did not, I want to make sure I get your question answered. And they may have stepped off. But whether or not, so I'll add this as well, right? Whether or not you're in the process of developing a day program, for example, like with Michelle's team, or you're in the process of developing something with Helen's team, you would have to do a full application on our proposal for this. And if you determined that, and if you were awarded and you determined that you wanted to go the route of the startup funds projects, right, then I would assume you might close out your LOI with the non-CPP project. However, you could open both, right? We need all kinds of services. So if you wanted to open 2 programs, you could look at opening 2 if you had the bandwidth to successfully do that at once.
Okay, and thank you, Dan, for providing that. What is the intellectual property clause for the dental app? What service code is the app slated for?
We're looking at service code 102 for the actual service, right? Because the initial vendorization will be for startup funds 999. And then we're looking at potentially service code 102. We definitely will continue to explore if there are any other service codes or rates that would be more appropriate. I think if many of you as active vendors might know that we're in the process of daily getting updates from DDS on the rate study and new service code descriptions. So we will continue to assess that throughout this application process. But that 102 would probably be the ongoing service code for that. And
Next question.
For the app, not for the dental service, obviously.
Next question. Up to how many individuals can you have serve for the day program?
We would have to look at the license site capacity, right, for your how big your specific facility is. But it's generally up to around 30, right, team, I think is generally, but you'd have to, you know, whatever, we'd have to look at the size of your site and make sure it met the fire clearance needs for max capacity. But it's generally around 30. It just depends on how big your site is.
When are the proposals due? I believe we had that in the it's in the handout.
Yeah, it's January 22nd, 2025 by 3 p.m.
One second. We'll send
I see
RFP for day program. Yep, you see that? Okay. Okay. That Yuba location okay. Is the Yuba location okay for a day program?
We encourage you to apply if you are interested in operating
Nice.
a day program outside of the in an outlying county. We absolutely encourage you to apply. I do know for some of our stakeholder outreach, just in all transparency, is really looking for El Dorado County or Nevada County, but we absolutely want to hear from everybody who's interested in operating a day program in an outlying county.
Okay, and I think that goes into answers another one of the questions. The city preferred for the day program. I think we've answered that. Like, just apply. Let's see what it looks like. When are services supposed to be operational for the wellness center and the day program? Will ACRC assist in licensure? If the implementation timeline is tight, budget template or budget submission criteria from RFP review seem like this would be once applicant is selected. Is that correct?
So there's always going to be a startup funds process, right? So your first vendored under service code 999, and we'll make sure that you meet all your contract criteria. And while you're being right, and while you're working that, you will start developing your service delivery plan or your program plan, right? And once you have started to utilize those startup funds to either develop a new center or get additional training for your staff, or look at adapting curriculum, right? Once a bulk of some of those requirements in the 999 contract are complete, is when we would target your service actually opening. We, of course, like to work on opening things as fast as we can. There is a 3-year time frame to spend startup funds. So generally with like a service like this, Dan, I mean, after the 999 contract is set up, we generally like to see it like with, for a service that, if it's an unlicensed site, right, that we do anticipate the adults being referred here will be able to take care of their own ADLs and those needs. So, we would look at, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but we would look at trying to open it, as soon as we can. And I think it'll be a difference too, right? If it's a current community provider that already has a wellness center and they already have already have a site versus somebody who may be starting a new service altogether, right? So that timeline can vary. That was a long answer to your question. Sorry.
We'll talk about the money first so that you don't waste any time with us.
Yes.
So just put that out there. So that when we do something new like this, we certainly recognize that that's going to be an important aspect of, and so we're not going to be spending months and months or years working with folks towards something without a very good picture in mind about what your compensation is going to look like. So just let folks know that.
I want to address someone's question about the intellectual property for the app. So
I'm sorry, Dan, what? It can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. So someone had a question about the intellectual property rights for the application. So in the contract, if the app is developed using the startup funds, then the state of California has the right to manufacture, reproduce, publish, and or distribute all the inventions or copyrightable material for which was developed by the contractor. So basically the state of California owns the intellectual property or can freely use it. So
Thank
That
you,
being
Dan.
said, that contract provision was written well before the first app hit anyone's smartphones that didn't exist. So any of you
Yes.
have issues
Right.
and still would like to participate in this, you got our contact information. You're welcome to send in to us, because we don't want to lose out on an opportunity towards some creativity as it relates to something new and innovative like this. So let us know any issues folks have.
Okay. Next question. Thank you. Do you need a home for day program?
We need a licensed site. We do want it to be a licensed site by CCL, so I'm not sure if what you mean by home. I'm happy to
Ryan?
ask additional question. Mhm.
Okay. For next question, for SRF, approximately how long does it take for vendorization?
So for the actual service contract, generally it takes, I mean, in general, 12 to 18 months, but that really is because you're developing the program design. You have to get licensed by CCL. Some people will have to find the home, right? If they don't already own the home, they have to go out and purchase the home, any construction or modification that needs to be done. So I would say that that's a safe guess, John or Dan, if you guys, Dee Dee, if you have any other, I think 12 to 18 months is a typical time frame that we see for residential facilities.
Next question, can you just load the handout here for us to download?
I did, but I noticed a couple of typos and I do want to fix them, but I will stay on and fix those and then download it for folks that want to. We can do that for you. Yes, but I do have to fix two things that I saw when we were presenting it. So
There you go. Thank you, Jordan.
absolutely.
Next question, do you have to be licensed by DSS before we submit our proposal?
No, you do absolutely do not. We do not expect that at all. And we really want to work with you guys, to be licensed by CCL. You're going to have your approved program designed for us to be able to get licensed. So we do not expect you to be licensed. We wouldn't. Yeah, no.
Next question, how many awards are there for each project?
One awarded applicant.
Mhm. And last question that I can see, how many day programs needed or open for RFP? I believe there is one.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah,
Are there any more questions? These were really great questions.
they are. I'm just so excited that you guys were all welcome to able to join us today.
Yes, my question is for the wellness center. Do you have to be a psychiatrist to work to provide to apply, or can you be a psych nurse professional to apply?
We are looking for a psychiatrist. Now, like we said, agencies can apply for this, right? But the individual providing the psychiatric services, we are looking for a psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
For this project.
So certainly a business that has someone that qualifies as possibly an adaptive skills trainer, which is a very broad categorization, may also work in a combination with a psychiatrist that we would have on there as well.
Any other questions? I'm getting this saved as a PDF right now while I'm multitasking, so I can put it in the chat for folks. But we are going to post it. You can absolutely email it for us as well. So if there's no other questions, I again want to thank you, right? All applications are due by January 22nd. So please get those in by 3 p.m. And any questions, reach out to us directly, rfp@altaregional.org. And once again, we really appreciate your time. This presentation has been recorded. We are going to be posting it on our website. We have a community resource development plan page that we have, so you can access it there. And we just really appreciate your guys' time today. Thank you so much. I look forward to reading a whole bunch of great applicants' proposals. So thank you. And I am going to put this into the chat. I just will mute myself to get that set up. So if anybody wants to stay on for that, you're welcome to, but we are done with our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gonna drop this into the chat here. There we go. It's downloading.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, and I'll stay on just for a few minutes so people can get that done. Thank you so much for interpreters. I'm so sorry about the confusion with the link. We'll make sure that doesn't happen in the future. Thank you so much, ladies. And I'm just going to give it about one more minute so folks can download the handout if they'd like to. Okay, folks, we're logging off. Thanks again.